Okay, today is the 8th of August, and we come to Majjhima Nikāya Sutta 47, Vimamsaka Sutta, the Enquirer. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's park. There he addressed the monks thus, "Monks, noble sir," they replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, a monk who is an inquirer, not knowing how to gauge another's mind, should make an investigation of the Tathagata in order to find out whether or not he is fully enlightened. Noble sir, our teachings are rooted in the Blessed One, guided by the Blessed One. Have the Blessed One as their resort. It would be good if the Blessed One would explain the meaning of these words. Having heard it from the Blessed One, the monks will remember it. Then listen, monks, and attend closely to what I shall say." "Yes, noble sir," the monks replied. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying that he's telling the monks that they should make an investigation of the Buddha to find out whether or not he is enlightened. So the Buddha is a teacher who asks his disciples to question everything. "Monks, a monk who is an inquirer, not knowing how to gauge another's mind, should investigate the Tathagata with respect to two kinds of states. States cognizable through the eye and through the ear thus. Are there found in the Tathagata or not any defiled states cognizable through the eye or through the ear? When he investigates him, he comes to know no defiled states cognizable through the eye or through the ear are found in the Tathagata. When he comes to know this, he investigates him further thus. Are there found in the Tathagata or not any mixed states cognizable through the eye or through the ear? When he investigates him, he comes to know no mixed states cognizable through the eye or through the ear are found in the Tathagata. When he comes to know this, he investigates him further thus. Are there found in the Tathagata or not cleansed states cognizable through the eye or through the ear? When he investigates him, he comes to know cleansed states cognizable through the eye or through the ear are found in the Tathagata." Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is telling his disciples through seeing, seeing the Buddha's actions or through hearing the Buddha's words, and then they should investigate whether the Buddha has any defiled states or not, and then also whether he has any mixed states. Mixed states means sometimes defiled, sometimes not defiled, sometimes good, sometimes bad. And then cleansed states, that means the Buddha has achieve certain cleansed states. So through his actions and through the speech, it can be known. When he comes to know this, he investigates him further thus. Has this Venerable One attained this wholesome state over a long time, or did he attain it recently? When he investigates him, he comes to know this Venerable One has attained this wholesome state over a long time. He did not attain it only recently. When he comes to know this, he investigates him further thus. Has this Venerable One acquired renown and attained fame, so that the dangers connected with renown and fame are found in him? For monks, as long as a monk has not acquired renown and attained fame, the dangers connected with renown and fame are not found in him. But when he has acquired renown and attained fame, those dangers are found in him. When he investigates him, he comes to know this Venerable One has acquired renown and attained fame, but the dangers connected with renown and fame are not found in him. Let's stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says that they should consider whether the Buddha has attained these wholesome states for a long time or only recently, and also whether he has name and fame, and whether those dangers connected with name and fame are found in him. those dangers connected with name and fame mainly is this ego. Because of the ego, there is arrogance, and also because of the ego, because of arrogance, sometimes a person can have a lot of anger, and also if he's greedy, whether he's greedy or not, because once a person wants name, then he's greedy for fame, he's greedy for this and that, etc. So, as far as the Buddha is concerned, he does not have these dangers connected with renown and fame. There is a Samyutta in the Samyutta Nikāya called Labha-Sakkara, where the Buddha said that a monk should avoid gains and fame. Should not be greedy for gains means offerings, and fame having a name, becoming famous. So the Buddha said these two are very dangerous. Sometimes a monk, before he has attained fame, he's practicing well. Very often after he becomes famous, then as his ego becomes swollen, and he will go the wrong way. When he comes to know this, he investigates him further thus. Is this Venerable One restrained without fear, not restrained by fear? And does he avoid indulging in sensual pleasures because he is without lust through the destruction of lust? When he investigates him, he comes to know this Venerable One is restrained without fear, not restrained by fear. And he avoids indulging in sensual pleasure because he is without lust through the destruction of lust. Now monks, if others should ask that monk thus, what are the Venerable One's reasons and what is his evidence, whereby he says, that Venerable One is restrained without fear, not restrained by fear, and he avoids indulging in sensual pleasures because he is without lust through the destruction of lust. Answering rightly, that monk would answer thus, whether that Venerable One dwells in the Sangha or alone, while some there are well behaved and some are ill behaved, and some there teach a group, while some here are seen concerned about material things, and some are unsullied by material things. Still that Venerable One does not despise anyone because of that. And I have heard and learned this from the Blessed One's own lips. I am restrained without fear, not restrained by fear, and I avoid indulging in sensual pleasures because I am without lust through the destruction of lust. Stop here for a moment. So here is quite interesting. The Buddha says that a monk who is restrained without fear and he avoids indulging in sensual pleasures because he is without lust. In that case, that monk, when he sees well-behaved and ill-behaved monks, still he does not despise anyone because of that. So, in other words, this person, he has let go, and also his ego is not so big. Normally, when we are new on the spiritual path, we are very diligent to practice well. And when we are diligent to practice well and we see others are not practicing well, we tend to look down on them. But when we are more mature, spiritually more mature, then even though we progress on the spiritual path, the Buddha says we don't identify ourselves with that progress. You don't think I'm very clean in my precepts, or my meditation is very good, and all these things. If you understand the Dhamma, later you see the Buddha says that the Buddha does not identify himself with all those good states because just let go of the ego. So this is quite quite revealing that if a monk he progresses, then he will not differentiate so much, he will not be critical of even ill-behaved monks. The Tathagata monks should be questioned further about that thus. Are there found in the Tathagata or not any defiled states cognizable through the eye or through the ear? The Tathagata would answer thus, no defiled states cognizable through the eye or through the ear are found in the Tathagata. If asked, are there found in the Tathagata or not any mixed states cognizable through the eye or through the ear? The Tathagata would answer thus, no mixed states cognizable through the eye or through the ear are found in the Tathagata. If asked, are there found in the Tathagata or not cleansed states cognizable through the eye or through the ear? The Tathagata would answer thus, cleansed states cognizable through the eye or through the ear are found in the Tathagata. They are my pathway and my domain, yet I do not identify with them. Stop here for a moment. So here, this is what I was trying to say, that the Buddha, he has cleansed states, he has made a lot of progress, but he does not identify the self with all that cleansed states, or does not think, I have attained this, I have attained that. Monks, a disciple should approach the teacher who speaks thus in order to hear the Dhamma. The teacher teaches him the Dhamma with its higher and higher levels, with its more and more sublime levels, with its dark and bright counterparts. As the teacher teaches the Dhamma to a monk in this way, through direct knowledge of a certain teaching here in that Dhamma, the monk comes to a conclusion about the teachings. He places confidence in the teacher thus, the Blessed One is fully enlightened. The Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One. The Sangha is practicing the good way. Now if others should ask that monk thus, what are the Venerable One's reasons and what is his evidence whereby he says, the Blessed One is fully enlightened. The Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One. The Sangha is practicing the good way. Answering rightly, that monk would answer thus, Dear friends, I approached the Blessed One in order to hear the Dhamma. The Blessed One taught me the Dhamma with its higher and higher levels, with its more and more sublime levels, with its dark and bright counterparts. As the Blessed One taught the Dhamma to me in this way, through direct knowledge of a certain teaching here in that Dhamma, I came to a conclusion about the teachings. I place confidence in the teacher thus, the Blessed One is fully enlightened, the Dhamma is well proclaimed by the Blessed One, the Sangha is practicing the good way. Monks, when anyone's faith has been planted, rooted and established in the Tathagata through these reasons, terms and phrases, his faith is said to be supported by reasons, rooted in vision, firm. It is invincible by any recluse or Brahmin or God or Mara or Brahma or by anyone in the world. That is how monks, there is an investigation of the Tathagata in accordance with the Dhamma, and that is how the Tathagata is well investigated in accordance with the Dhamma. That is what the Blessed One said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So here this sutta is telling us that we should question everything, even the state of the teacher, like the Buddha taught the Kalama Sutta, where the Buddha says, don't believe because the teacher has a good reputation, don't believe because it comes from the books, everything, but investigate. So the other thing interesting about this sutta is that if a monk is practicing correctly, even if he acquires renown and attain fame, then he is not moved by it. He doesn't become arrogant. The ego doesn't become so big, not so greedy. Another thing is, if a monk progresses, then he becomes less critical of others. He's more compassionate of other people's behavior, and is more keen to improve himself instead of criticizing others. Okay, now we come to another sutta, Sutta 48, which is a very important sutta. Towards the end, you will see. 48. Kosambiya Sutta, the Kosambiyans. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Kosambi in Gosita's spa. Now on that occasion, the monks at Kosambi were taken to quarreling and brawling and were deep in disputes, stabbing each other with verbal daggers. They could neither convince each other nor be convinced by others. They could neither persuade each other nor be persuaded by others. Then a certain monk went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage to him, he sat down at one side and informed him of what was happening. Then the Blessed One addressed a certain monk thus, "Come, monk, tell those monks in my name that the teacher calls them." "Yes, Venerable Sir," he replied. And he went to those monks and told them, "The teacher calls the Venerable Ones." "Yes, friend," they replied. And they went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage to him, they sat down at one side. The Blessed One then asked them, "Monks, is it true that you have taken to quarreling and brawling and are deep in disputes, stabbing each other with verbal daggers, that you can neither convince each other nor be convinced by others, that you can neither persuade each other nor be persuaded by others?" "Yes, Venerable Sir." "Monks, what do you think? When you take to quarreling and brawling and are deep in disputes, stabbing each other with verbal daggers, do you on that occasion maintain acts of loving kindness by body, speech, and mind, in public and in private towards your companions in the holy life?" "No, Venerable Sir." "So, monks, when you take to quarreling and brawling and are deep in disputes, stabbing each other with verbal daggers, on that occasion you do not maintain acts of loving kindness by body, speech, and mind, in public and in private towards your companions in the holy life. Misguided men, what can you possibly know, what can you see that you take to quarreling and brawling and are deep in disputes, stabbing each other with verbal daggers, that you can neither convince each other nor be convinced by others, that you can neither persuade each other nor be persuaded by others? Misguided men, that will lead to your harm and suffering for a long time." Let's stop here for a moment. So, whenever two persons quarrel or several people quarrel, it doesn't really matter who is right, who is wrong. But if we practice the Buddha's teachings, then we don't continue to quarrel. At least we try to avoid each other. And if you can't practice metta, at least avoid each other. So if people quarrel, both sides are to be blamed. Then the Blessed One addressed the monks thus, "Monks, there are these 6 memorable qualities that create love and respect and conduce to helpfulness, to non-dispute, to concord, and to unity. What are the 6? Here, a monk maintains bodily acts of loving kindness, both in public and in private, towards his companions in the holy life. This is a memorable quality that creates love and respect and conduces to helpfulness, to non-dispute, to concord, and to unity. Again, a monk maintains verbal acts of loving kindness, both in public and in private, towards his companions in the holy life. This is a memorable quality that creates love and respect and conduces to unity. Again, a monk maintains mental acts of loving kindness, both in public and in private, towards his companions in the holy life. This is a memorable quality that creates love and respect and conduces to unity. Again, a monk uses things in common with his virtuous companions in the holy life. Without making reservations, he shares with them any gain of a kind that accords with the Dhamma and has been obtained in a way that accords with the Dhamma, including even the contents of his bowl. This is a memorable quality that creates love and respect and conduces to unity. Again, a monk dwells both in public and in private, possessing in common with his companions in the holy life those virtues that are unbroken, untorn, unblotched, unmottled, liberating, commended by the wise, not misapprehended, and conducive to concentration. This too is a memorable quality that creates love and respect and conduces to unity. Again, a monk dwells in public and in private, possessing in common with his companions in the holy life that view that is noble and emancipating, and leads one who practices in accordance with it to the complete destruction of suffering. This too is a memorable quality that creates love and respect and conduces to helpfulness, to non-dispute, to concord and to unity. These are the 6 memorable qualities that create love and respect and conduce to helpfulness, to non-dispute, to concord and to unity. Of these memorable qualities, the highest, the most comprehensive, the most conclusive is this view that is noble and emancipating, and leads the one who practices in accordance with it to the complete destruction of suffering. Just as the highest, the most comprehensive, the most conclusive part of a pinnacle building is the pinnacle itself, so too of these 6 memorable qualities, the highest is this view that is noble and emancipating. Stop here for a moment. So these 6 qualities, when we live together, we should always remember to maintain loving kindness, acts of loving kindness, whether in public or in private, through the body, through the speech, and through the mind towards each other. If we can't do that, the only obstacle is the ego. Every time we cannot tolerate something, it's the ego surfacing. And then number 4, we are not stingy. We share with each other what we have. And then number 5 is to keep our moral conduct, keep our sila, moral conduct. And number 6, the most important, is to have right view. When you have Aryan view or right view, then you would see that this body and this self is not I, is not mine, and then your ego won't be so big. So you can let go of a lot of things. So having right view is very helpful, the most important. And how does this view that is noble and emancipating lead the one who practices in accordance with it to the complete destruction of suffering? Here a monk, gone to the forest or to the root of a tree or to an empty hut, considers thus: is there any obsession unabandoned in myself that might so possess my mind that I cannot know or see things as they actually are? If a monk is obsessed by sensual lust, then his mind is obsessed. If he is obsessed by ill will, then his mind is obsessed. If he is obsessed by sloth and torpor, then his mind is obsessed. If he is obsessed by restlessness and remorse, then his mind is obsessed. If he is obsessed by doubt, then his mind is obsessed. If a monk is absorbed in speculation about this world, then his mind is obsessed. If a monk is absorbed in speculation about the other world, then his mind is obsessed. If a monk takes to quarreling and brawling and is deep in disputes, stabbing others with verbal daggers, then his mind is obsessed. He understands thus: there is no obsession unabandoned in myself that might so possess my mind that I cannot know and see things as they actually are. My mind is well disposed for awakening to the truths. This is the first knowledge attained by him that is noble, supramundane, not shared by ordinary people. I'll stop here for a moment now. This part, we are coming to this part of the sutta, which is very important. Here, the Buddha is going to talk about 7 factors or 7 possessions of a sotapanna. So if you think you might be a sotapanna, you can judge here whether you have the qualities. So this first one, a monk, he must get rid of the 5 hindrances. What is called obsessions here. I must abandon these 5 hindrances. Because it says here, my mind is well disposed for awakening to the truths. If you don't abandon the 5 hindrances, then your mind is not well disposed for awakening. So abandoning of the 5 hindrances is necessary so that we can see clearly things as they really are. The minimum that is needed to abandon the 5 hindrances is what later books call upachara samadhi, a threshold concentration, which is very close to the first jhana. Just before a person attains the first jhana, in the suttas it says that the 5 hindrances are abandoned. and abandon quite permanently. So you need some samadhi to get rid of the 5 hindrances. There are some people, they already have this quality from previous life. If not, then we have to cultivate this samadhi in this lifetime so that we can attain this Uttapanna. Second one, again, a noble disciple considers thus: when I pursue, develop and cultivate this view, do I obtain internal serenity? Do I personally obtain stillness? He understands thus: when I pursue, develop and cultivate this view, I obtain internal serenity. I personally obtain stillness. This is the second knowledge attained by him. That is noble, supramundane, not shared by ordinary people. So this is another quality that is noble, supramundane, not shared by ordinary putujana, ordinary people who are not Aryans. So an Aryan will be able to obtain serenity of mind, stillness of mind. The third one, again, a noble disciple considers thus: is there any other recluse or Brahmin outside the Buddha's dispensation possessed of a view such as I possess? He understands thus: there is no other recluse or Brahmin outside the Buddha's dispensation possessed of a view such as I possess. This is the third knowledge attained by him that is noble, supramundane, not shared by ordinary people. I stop here for a moment. So here, he knows only in the Buddha's original teachings, by practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, then only we can get this right view of an Aryan and be an Aryan. Nowadays there are some monks who say that all religions are the same and that other religions also have enlightened people. This is not what the Buddha says. The Buddha says only in his teachings. When you say only in his teachings, it means only basically you practice the Four Noble Truths, which includes the this Noble Eightfold Path, and then only you can attain this Aryan view. Number 4. Again, the noble disciple considers thus: do I possess the character of a person who possesses right view? What is the character of a person who possesses right view? This is the character of a person who possesses right view. Although he may commit some kind of offense for which a means of rehabilitation has been laid down, still he at once confesses, reveals and discloses it to the teacher or to wise companions in the holy life. And having done that, he enters upon restraint for the future. Just as a young, tender infant lying prone at once draws back when he puts his hand or his foot on a live coal, so too that is the character of a person who possesses right view. He understands thus: I possess the character of a person who possesses right view. This is the fourth knowledge attained by him that is noble, supramundane, not shared by ordinary people. One of the necessary conditions of a good disciple is that he has to be straightforward to the teacher. He should not hide his weaknesses. He should not hide his faults. So here it is stated that even this noble disciple, this Aryan disciple, is capable of committing some kind of offense, some light offense. Although an Aryan is supposed to have perfect sila, he still sometimes can break certain precepts, but not the major precepts. But then he does not hide it. He immediately confesses it, reveals it either to the teacher or to his companions in the holy life. So if a person wants to progress as a disciple, he has to be very forthright, very straightforward to the teacher and reveal everything so that the teacher can correct his faults, not be very secretive. Again, a noble disciple considers thus: do I possess the character of a person who possesses right view? What is the character of a person who possesses right view? This is the character of a person who possesses right view. Although he may be active in various matters for his companions in the holy life, yet he has a keen regard for training in the higher virtue, training in the higher mind, and training in the higher wisdom. Just as a cow with a new calf, while she grazes, watches her calf, so too that is the character of a person who possesses right view. He understands thus, I possess the character of a person who possesses right view. This is the fifth knowledge attained by him that is noble, supramundane, not shared by ordinary people. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha means that a monk may be very busy teaching the Dhamma or doing matters for the Sangha, but if an Aryan, then he will still be very careful about his sila, his samadhi, and wisdom. That means he will still keep his precepts very well and train in meditation and also study the sutta for the higher wisdom. Again, a noble disciple considers thus, do I possess the strength of a person who possesses right view? What is the strength of a person who possesses right view? This is the strength of a person who possesses right view. When the Dhamma Vinaya proclaimed by the Tathagata is being taught, he heeds it, gives it attention, engages it with all his mind, hears the Dhamma as with eager ears. He understands thus, I possess the strength of a person who possesses right view. This is the sixth knowledge attained by him that is noble, supramundane, not shared by ordinary people. So here, another characteristic of an Aryan disciple, when the Dhamma Vinaya of the Buddha is taught, he is very eager to listen, pay attention with all his mind. So you all should know, whenever there's a Dhamma talk going on, don't go and chatter. I see some of you, when the Dhamma talk is going on, you're talking very loudly. You have no interest in the Dhamma. That shows if you're really interested in the Dhamma, any talk, you will pay attention. Again, a noble disciple considers thus, do I possess the strength of a person who possesses right view? What is the strength of a person who possesses right view? This is the strength of a person who possesses right view. When the Dhamma Vinaya proclaimed by the Tathagata is being taught, he gains inspiration in the meaning, gains inspiration in the Dhamma, gains gladness connected with the Dhamma. He understands thus, I possess the strength of a person who possesses right view. This is the seventh knowledge attained by him that is noble, supramundane, not shared by ordinary people. When a noble disciple is thus possessed of seven factors, he has well sought the character for realization of the fruit of stream entry. When a noble disciple is thus possessed of seven factors, he possesses the fruit of stream entry. That is what the Blessed One said. The monks were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. That's the end of the sutta. So this last part, when the Dhamma is taught, this person is extremely happy to hear the Dhamma and is inspired by the Dhamma. That shows what we say, Uyen, Tia Keng. He has this affinity with the Dhamma. So these are the seven qualities of a Sotapanna. So if you think you might be a Sotapanna, you look at these seven qualities and judge whether you have. The first one is to be rid of the five hindrances. You have, and then the second one is you have attained some serenity of mind, stillness of mind. The third one is that you understand that outside the Buddha's teachings, there cannot be any Aryans. Number four, this Sotapanna, he may commit some light offense, but he will immediately confess and reveal it either to his companions in the holy life or to the teacher. And number five, the monk may be very busy doing a lot of Dhammavuddho work, etc., or maintenance work, or all the duties for the Sangha, yet he still trains in Sila, Samadhi and Panya, moral conduct, concentration and wisdom. Then number six, when the Dhamma Vinaya is taught, he pays full attention. He engages with all his engages it with all his mind. Hears the Dhamma with eager ears, very happy and very eager to hear the Dhamma. And then number 7, when he hears the Dhamma, he's inspired by the Dhamma, and gladness is born. Is gladness connected with the Dhamma. So these are the 7 factors, the characteristics of a Sotapanna. So this is a very important sutta. Now we come to Sutta 49, Brahmanimantanika Sutta, the invitation of a Brahma. This word Nimantanika, Brahmanimantanika. This Nimantanika, just like a lot of Pali words, has crept into the Thai vocabulary. So the Thai word for invitation is Nimun. So here from the Nimantanika. So that Niman has become Nimun in Thailand. So whenever you in Thailand they invite each other, they say Nimun. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anatta Pindika's spa. There he addressed the monks thus, "Monks, Noble Sir," they replied. The Blessed One said this, "Monks, on one occasion I was living at Ukata in the Subhaga Grove at the root of a royal sala tree. Now on that occasion, a pernicious view had arisen in Baka the Brahma thus, this is permanent, this is everlasting, this is eternal, this is total, this is not subject to pass away. For this neither is born, nor ages, nor dies, nor passes away, nor reappears. And beyond this, there is no escape." Let's stop here for a moment. So here this Baka Brahma, he thinks that his world is permanent and everlasting because he has such a long lifespan. He has been there for so long as he can remember. And he doesn't see that he is getting any older because devas, they don't see the body growing old. So he thought that he is permanent. And the Buddha said, "I knew with my mind the thought in the mind of Baka the Brahma. So just as quickly as a strong man might extend his flexed arm, or flex his extended arm, I vanished from the root of the royal sala tree in the Subhaga Grove at Ukata and appeared in the Brahma world. Baka the Brahma saw me coming in the distance and said, 'Come, good sir, welcome, good sir. It is long, good sir, since you found an opportunity to come here. Now, good sir, this is permanent, this is everlasting, this is eternal, this is total, this is not subject to pass away. For this neither is born, nor ages, nor dies, nor passes away, nor reappears. And beyond this there is no escape.' When this was said, I told Baka the Brahma, 'The worthy Baka the Brahma has lapsed into ignorance. He has lapsed into ignorance in that he says of the impermanent that it is permanent, of the transient that it is everlasting, of the non-eternal that it is eternal, of the incomplete that it is total, of what is subject to pass away that it is not subject to pass away, of what is born, ages, dies, passes away and reappears, that it neither is born, nor ages, nor dies, nor passes away, nor reappears. And when there is an escape beyond this, he says that there is no escape beyond this.' Then Mara, the evil one, took possession of a member of the Brahma's assembly, and he told me, 'Monk, do not disbelieve him, for this Brahma is the great Brahma, the overlord, the untranscended, of infallible vision, wielder of mastery, Lord, Maker and Creator, most high providence, Master and Father of those that are and ever can be.'" Stop here for a moment. There is some other sutta that says this Mahabrahma, this great Brahma, he has been there for so long and for some time he was alone. Then he was thinking to himself, it'd be good if I had some friends or some company. Then after some time, some other beings were reborn in that heaven. And when he saw these beings being reborn in the heaven, he thought because of his wish that these beings are born. So because of that, he thought since he's the first in that heaven, he thought there's no other heavens because he does not know of other heaven. So he He thought, as far as he knows, he's the highest heaven, so he thought that he was God, that he is the creator. As soon as he thought he wants some company, and there they appear. And Mara continued, before your time, monk, there were recluses and Brahmins in the world who condemn earth through disgust with earth, who condemn water through disgust with water, who condemn fire through disgust with fire, who condemn earth through disgust with, who condemn air through disgust with air, who condemn beings through disgust with beings, who condemn gods through disgust with gods, who condemn Pajapati through disgust with Pajapati, who condemn Brahma through disgust with Brahma. And on the dissolution of the body, when the life was cut off, they became established in an inferior body. Before your time, monk, there were also recluses and Brahmins in the world, who lauded earth through delight in earth, who lauded water through delight in water, who lauded fire through delight in fire, who lauded air through delight in air, who lauded beings through delight in beings, who lauded gods through delight in gods, who lauded Pajapati through delight in Pajapati, who lauded Brahma through delight in Brahma. And on the dissolution of the body, when the life was cut off, they became established in a superior body. So monk, I tell you this, be sure, good sir, to do only as the Brahma says. Never overstep the word of the Brahma. If you overstep the word of the Brahma, monk, then like a man trying to deflect an approaching beam of light with a stick, or like a man losing his hold on the earth with his hands and feet as he slips into a deep chasm, so it will befall you, monk. Be sure, good sir, to do only as the Brahma says. Never overstep the word of the Brahma. Do you not see the Brahma's assembly seated here, monk? And Mara, the evil one, thus called to witness the Brahma's assembly. Stop here for a moment. So you see here, this Mara, he is supposed to be residing in the highest of the six sensual realm heavens. So actually he is in a heaven lower than the Brahma gods. But he is so powerful that he can take possession of one of the Brahma gods and speak to the Buddha. Also what he was trying to say was, in the past there were some recluses who condemned the earth, water, fire, wind. These are the four elements signifying matter, physical matter, and also condemned beings and all that, and even the devas. What does it mean by condemning? That means these recluses, they say that everything in the world is impermanent, a source of suffering, and not self. And because of that, they do not attach to anything in the world, and tell others also not to attach to anything in the world. So here he says, they condemn everything in the world. So he's saying, whereas those who did not condemn everything in the world, then they had a good rebirth. When this was said, I told Mara, the evil one, I know you, evil one. Do not think he does not know me. You are Mara, evil one, and the Brahma and the Brahma's assembly, and the members of the Brahma's assembly have all fallen into your hands. They have all fallen into your power. You, evil one, think, this one too has fallen into my hands. He too has fallen into my power. But I have not fallen into your hands, evil one. I have not fallen into your power. When this was said, Baka the Brahma told me, good sir, I say of the permanent that it is permanent, of the everlasting that it is everlasting, of the eternal that it is eternal, of the total that it is total, of what is not subject to pass away that it is not subject to pass away, of what neither is born nor ages nor dies, nor passes away nor reappears, that it is neither born nor ages nor dies nor passes away nor reappears. And when there is no escape beyond this, I say that there is no escape beyond this. Before your time, monk, there were recluses and Brahmins in the world whose asceticism lasted as long as your whole life. They knew when there is an escape beyond, that there is an escape beyond. And when there is no escape beyond, that there is no escape beyond. So monk, I tell you this, you will find no escape beyond, and eventually you will reap only weariness and disappointment. If you will hold to earth, you will be close to me, within my domain. for me to work my will upon and punish. If you hold to water, to fire, to air, to beings, to gods, to Pajapati, to Brahma, you will be close to me, within my domain, for me to work my will upon and punish. And the Buddha said, I know that too, Brahma. If I will hold to earth, I shall be close to you, within your domain, for you to work your will upon and punish. If I will hold to water, to fire, to air, to beings, to gods, to Pajapati, to Brahma, I shall be close to you, within your domain, for you to work your will upon and punish. Further, I understand your reach and your sway to extend thus. Bhaka the Brahma has this much power, this much might, this much influence. And the Bhaka asked, now good sir, how far do you understand my reach and my sway to extend? And the Buddha said, as far as moon and sun revolve, shining and lighting up the quarters, over 1,000-fold such world does your sovereignty extend. And there you know the high and low, and those with lust and free from lust, the state that is thus and otherwise, the coming and going of beings. Brahma, I understand your reach and your sway to extend thus. Bhaka, the Brahma, has this much power, this much might, this much influence. But Brahma, there are 3 other bodies which you neither know nor see, and which I know and see. There is the body called the gods of streaming radiance, from which you passed away and reappeared here. Because you have dwelt here long, your memory of that has lapsed, and hence you do not know or see it, but I know and see it. Thus Brahma, in regard to direct knowledge, I do not stand merely at the same level as you. How then could I know less? Rather, I know more than you. There is a body called the gods of refulgent glory. There is a body called the gods of great fruit. You do not know or see that, but I know and see it. Thus Brahma, in regard to direct knowledge, I do not stand merely at the same level as you. How then could I know less? Rather, I know more than you. Stop here for a moment. So here, the Buddha is telling this Brahma that he knows more than Brahma. Brahma has forgotten that he previously was in a higher heaven, and passing away from there, he appeared in this Brahma world. So the Buddha told him that there is this Brahma world is actually the world of the first jhana. And the Buddha is telling him this world of the gods of streaming radiance are in the realm of the second jhana. And then the gods of refulgent glory are in the third jhana. And then the gods of great fruit, Vihapala, are in the fourth jhana. So the Buddha can see all this, and this Brahma does not. Brahma, having directly known earth as earth, and having directly known that which is not commensurate with the earthness of earth, I do not claim to be earth. I did not claim to be in earth. I did not claim to be apart from earth. I did not claim earth to be mine. I did not affirm earth. Thus Brahma, in regard to direct knowledge, I do not stand merely at the same level as you. How then could I know less? Rather, I know more than you. Brahma, having directly known water as water, fire as fire, air as air, beings as beings, gods as gods, Pajapati as Pajapati, Brahma as Brahma, the gods of streaming radiance as the gods of streaming radiance, the gods of refulgent glory as the gods of refulgent glory, the gods of great fruit as the gods of great fruit, the overlord as the overlord, as all, and having directly known that which is not commensurate with the allness of all. I did not claim to be all. I did not claim to be in all. I did not claim to be apart from all. I did not claim all to be mine. I did not affirm all. Thus Brahma, in regard to direct knowledge, I do not stand merely at the same level as you. How then could I know less? Rather, I know more than you. Stop here for a moment. So here what the Buddha is saying is similar to what is found in the first sutta of the Majjhima Nikāya. The Buddha says that he, having known earth, he does not claim to be earth, does not claim to be in earth, does not claim to be apart from earth, does not claim earth to be mine, etc. So you have to look at the Majjhima Nikāya Sutta 1 to understand this part. Now, So Brahma asked, "Good sir, if you claim to directly know that which is not commensurate with the allness of all, may your claim not turn out to be vain and empty." And the Buddha said, "The consciousness that makes no showing, nor has to do with finiteness, not claiming being with respect to all, that is not commensurate with the earthness of earth, that is not commensurate with the waterness of water, that is not commensurate with the allness of all." I'll stop here for a moment. This 3 lines, the consciousness that makes no showing, nor has to do with finiteness, not claiming being with respect to all this. There is more of it in the Digha Nikāya Sutta number 11 called the Kevada Sutta. This, the Buddha is talking about the state of Nibbana, where the Buddha says that Nibbana is a state where the 6 consciousnesses have stopped. Even though the 6 consciousnesses, the 6 sense consciousness has stopped, there is another type of consciousness which is infinite. And here it says makes no showing because it has no object. Unlike the consciousness of the 6 consciousnesses, the 6 sense consciousnesses, whenever it arises, there must be an object. But with the consciousness of Nibbana, there is no object. Because there is no object, there is no self. So this part about this Nibbana being with the consciousness, some monks who follow the Abhidhamma, they cannot accept because they cannot accept this. So, but in the sutta we see that this is what the Buddha says. And then the Brahma said, "Good sir, I shall vanish from you." And the Buddha said, "Vanish from me if you can, Brahma." Then Baka the Brahma saying, "I shall vanish from the recluse Gotama, I shall vanish from the recluse Gotama," was unable to vanish. Thereupon I said, "Brahma, I shall vanish from you." And he said, "Vanish from me if you can, good sir." Then I performed such a feat of supernormal power that the Brahma and the Brahma's assembly and the members of the Brahma's assembly could hear my voice but could not see me. After I had vanished, I uttered this stanza: "Having seen fear in every mode of being, and in being seeking for non-being, I did not affirm any mode of being, nor did I cling to any delight in being." At that the Brahma and the Brahma's assembly and the members of the Brahma's assembly were struck with wonder and amazement, saying, "It is wonderful, sirs, it is marvelous, the great power and great might of the recluse Gotama. We have never before seen or heard of any other recluse or Brahmin who had such great power and such great might as has this recluse Gotama, who went forth from a Sakin clan. Sirs, though living in a generation that delights in being, that takes delight in being, that rejoices in being, he has extirpated being together with its root." Stop here for a moment. These devas, they judge each other, how great each other is, through 2 things. One is the light. The light, all the devas, they emit light. So if a deva is more bright than others, then he's considered to have more power. The other one is the psychic power. Psychic power. So here, this Mahabrahma, he has great psychic power. So he told the Buddha he's going to vanish away from the Buddha. But because the Buddha's psychic power was greater, the Buddha controlled his mind. So that he said, I'm vanishing, but he could not vanish from the Buddha. And then the Buddha challenged him, and the Buddha said, I will vanish from you. Then he said, you go ahead. And then the Buddha immediately vanished, and all the devas could not see the Buddha, but could hear his voice. So they were amazed. They had never seen a human being with such great power. Then Mara, the evil one, took possession of a member of the Brahma's assembly, and he said to me, Good sir, if that is what you know, if that is what you have discovered, do not guide your lay disciples or those gone forth. Do not teach the Dhamma to your lay disciples or to those gone forth. Create no yearning in your lay disciples or in those gone forth. Before your time, monk, there were recluses and Brahmins in the world claiming to be Arahant, Sammasambuddha, and they guided their lay disciples and those gone forth. They taught the Dhamma to their lay disciples and to those gone forth. They created yearning in their lay disciples and in those gone forth. And on the dissolution of the body, when their life was cut off, they became established in an inferior body. Before your time, monk, there were also recluses and Brahmins in the world, claiming to be Arahant and Sammasambuddha. And they did not guide the lay disciples or those gone forth. They did not teach the Dhamma to the lay disciples or those gone forth. They created no yearning in the lay disciples or in those gone forth. And on the dissolution of the body, when their life was cut off, they became established in a superior body. So monk, I tell you this, be sure, good sir, to abide inactive, devoted to a pleasant abiding here and now. This is better left undeclared. And so, good sir, inform no one else. When this was said, I told Mara the evil one, I know you, evil one. Do not think he does not know me. You are Mara, evil one. It is not out of compassion for their welfare that you speak thus. It is without compassion for their welfare that you speak thus. You think thus, evil one. Those to whom the recluse Gotama teaches the Dhamma will escape from my sphere. Those recluses and Brahmin of yours, evil one, who claim to be Arahant Sammasambuddha, were not Arahant Sammasambuddha, but I, who claim to be Arahant and Sammasambuddha, am Arahant and Sammasambuddha. If the Tathagata teaches the Dhamma to disciples, he is such, evil one. This word such, the Pali word is tadiso, you can say thus. Sometimes they translate as thus. If the Tathagata teaches the disciple to disciples, he is such, evil one. And if the Tathagata does not teach the Dhamma to disciples, he is such. If the Tathagata guides disciples, he is such, evil one. And if the Tathagata does not guide disciples, he is such. Why is that? Because the Tathagata has abandoned the taints that defile, bring renewal of being, give trouble, ripen in suffering, and lead to future birth, aging, and death. He has cut them off at the root, made them like a palm stump, done away with them so that they are no longer subject to future arising. Just as a palm tree whose crown is cut off is incapable of further growth, so too the Tathagata has abandoned the taints that defile, cut them off at the root, made them like a palm stump, done away with them so that they are no longer subject to future arising. Thus, because Mara was unable to reply, and because it began with the Brahma's invitation, this discourse is entitled, On the Invitation of the Brahma. That's the end of the sutta. So, this sutta is one of those concerning the Maha-Brahma. And the Buddha went to him, firstly because he had wrong view, and secondly, usually because he has some affinity with the Buddha from the past life. Usually the Buddha goes to such devas because they were his teachers before in the past life. So he feels that he owes some gratitude to them, to help them to get right view. So he goes to such beings. So you see from this sutta also the power of Brahma, how he can enter even the Brahma, some of the Brahma Devas bodies and speak to the Buddha. That means he possess, he control their mind. So we stop here. Anything to discuss?
Compare the, because we read that for a man who
48.
So, Sutta 47, paragraph 10. Where a monk restrained here, he does not dwell in the Sangha or alone, he does not judge others. There are other monks who are unskilled, but this particular monk who practices well, he doesn't judge them. Sutta 47, paragraph 10.
Yes.
So, we also read in earlier suttas that the asavas are makers of measurement. So, for a monk or practitioner to abandon whether I'm superior, inferior, or equal, that kind of view, this we'd like Bhante to please explain for a sotapanna, different stages of enlightenment, how would this be he observed from the behavior of?
It's not exactly that the monk does not judge others. Here it says that the Venerable One does not despise anyone. So it's not that he does not judge. He can judge, but he does not despise. Because he has compassion. He knows that all of us, we are on this spiritual path and we are at different levels. And so he because of that, he does not despise someone who is less than him. But then the thing about the not thinking others are superior or inferior or equal to him, I guess that is when a person has cut off this identity view. When you have the identity view, you identify yourself with this body and this mind. So when you have cut off this identity view, then you don't identify yourself with this body and this mind, then even you progress also, you don't think I progress. If you attain something also, you don't think I attain. It's just that this attainment is there. So that's why, like the Buddha said, 10 states cognizable through the eye or ear are found in the Tathagata. They are my pathway and my domain, yet I do not identify with them.
Yeah, the Buddha is describing himself. So I was thinking, comparing to a Sotapan who has set aside his Sakaya duty.
Yes.
I mean, it would be very much different compared to Buddha the Arahant.
Yes. In this sense, probably not that different because once a person, I guess, has cut Sakaya Ditti, if he, although he still has the self, and he, from there, if he does not identify himself with the body and the mind, then he would not compare others with himself, and also he would have compassion for beings. But having said that, even in the Buddha, you see, sometimes when certain monks behave wrongly, you call them foolish men. I do this and all that. So the point here is that this person, this Arya, he will not despise anyone. It's not that he sees everybody is the same, not really.
Yes, we look at the behavior of Mahathera. He can be very, very kind.
Yeah.
Perhaps out of compassion, Ananda is here, not Arahant.
In the case of Mahakassapa, I think his character, after so many lifetimes, is ingrained. We all have certain characteristics which differentiate us. So even though he has become an Arahant, this character is so strong that out of habit, I guess, he has this tendency to be very rough with people. So also we find in the among the Arahants, there was one who used to address other monks like a low caste like that. And then it seems that he has been a high caste person for many, many lifetimes. So his habit he has not shaken off. So he keeps addressing others as like low caste people like that. So even though he does not have the self, already Arahant. So in that respect, that's why I said, it doesn't matter whether it's Sotapanna or it's Arahant. I think that behavior is more of habit.
There's another question and it relates to community living. This is one, I think I'm not mistaken, Ananda was complaining about Arahant Anuruddha traveling with Kundila and monks like Nandiya, and they did not attend to their disciples. And Ananda was complaining to the Buddha that they didn't look after their disciples and nobody is teaching the disciples. And the Buddha sort of admonished Ananda, he should not say that, in fact, he should take over training the Ananda group disciples. So I was thinking that he is already a Sotapan. So I mean that goes to show that he still has how shall I say that critical of others.
I don't exactly remember it the way you remember it, but sometimes in this case it is because you can see compassion for those disciples. He feels that somebody should teach them. That's why he brought it up, I guess.
When the Buddha got enlightenment, he wanted to seek out the two previous masters to share this knowledge that he had attained with them. But he found that it passed away, and probably they are in the very higher run. Just out of curiosity, the Buddha helped them with this knowledge so that they can
No, the Buddha could not help them because they were reborn in a very high level. And there is a sutta where, remember, Ananda asked the Buddha, is it true, Bhagava, that this flesh body, you can fly to heaven with this flesh body? And the Buddha said yes. The Buddha said when he meditates, then the mind is very strong, and then the body feels very light, and then he just wills it, and he takes off like a rocket. And then the Buddha mentioned that this flesh body can go as far as the Brahma heavens. That's the maximum the flesh body can go to. So because of that, he could not reach the Arupa heavens where his former teachers were. So he could not teach them. The Buddha says, you remember just now you read that section, the Buddha says whether he teaches the Dhamma or he does not teach the Dhamma, he's always thus, he's always such. He has lost the self, so the Buddha is unmoved, he cannot be moved. But that is why you can understand why Pachika Buddhas, after they become enlightened, they don't think I have to teach my former teacher or my former mother or my former father and all that. No. Because they have the wisdom to know everybody has their own time. In time to come, even our Alan also will become an Arahant, maybe some Buddha also. Just like right now, his time is not here, not yet. So every one of us have our time, don't worry.
For people who are practicing very seriously, oftentimes they will be very alone and they tend to keep to themselves. So I was wondering if a person is supposed to be very antisocial and even engage in community, or even engage in the community. Here, how do you how engage with in a community like ours?
That one, I think, is up to the individual. Like the Buddha, when he was striving, he practiced absolute aloofness from society. He said he lived like a forest deer. He lived deep in the forest. When he saw anybody coming, he would quickly run away. And then he would sleep in the charnel ground, the cemetery, and use the bones as a pillow. And he tried to practice equanimity. So he said sometimes these boys who look after the cows, they come and disturb him, urinate on him, also he just ignore. He doesn't even walk away. Just let them do what they want. They poke his ears, also he just ignore. Poke his nose, also he just ignore them. So, and at other times he would just avoid anybody. But when he was enlightened, then he came out and taught the Dhamma to the whole world. So there are some people, on the other hand, when they are practicing also, they feel that there is a need to do something for society, so they come and do. But if when they are striving for on the spiritual path, if they, for example, like teach the Dhamma and all that, then they cannot go as fast as possible. Then because they sacrifice their time for others. So each person is different. Each person is different. There are some people they strive very hard, and after they become enlightened, also they just go into deep forest and die in the forest. The character is like that. Each person has a different character. You cannot say anything about them. Okay, maybe we end here.